Okay, it's 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and 6 Pacific. We've got a lot of topics to cover tonight. One topic, lots of ingredients. I'm going to wait just a few minutes, not a few. We're going to make 1 minute. For those that want to listen to this, they've got to be on time because I'm going to start just about a minute after 7 o'clock. But we're going to have another session with me, Dr. Tracy Gibbs, Chief Scientific Officer for LifeWise. We're going to be covering the pre and probiotics tonight for the one. In this wonderful bag here with all of these amazing ingredients, we're going to be covering just a small portion, that probiotic and prebiotic section of that product tonight. However, before we do that, we're going to start with some announcements. I'm going to wait just a minute for everyone to jump on. Hello, Jeanette. Hi, Tina. How you doing? Mike Bell's on. There's my buddy Tim. How you doing, Tim? Regionals in Salt Lake City are getting closer. Part of my announcements before I start tonight. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I think for those who join late, they can go back and watch the replay, but we're going to go over some announcements tonight. You guys, you know, I believe one of the most, I guess you could say, amazing traits of network marketing and direct sales is the communion that happens with other people in the business, the relationships that are built, the friendships that are built, that last, by the way, your lifetime. Man, I still have my friends from my old New Skin days, clear back in 1991, 1992. My upline, George and Monica Nako, and above those, my upline, Mary Lou Deutscher. She was kind of my mentor who got me involved in this industry. I attended her funeral last year. You know, after almost a 40-year relationship with some of these people. Building relationships is the best part of network marketing. Making and creating new friends. And you can't do that online. You just can't. I don't care how many people you recruit from your Facebook posts or your Instagram messages or your LinkedIn sites or whatever. Look, they're all important. I get that. You've got to get the message out there. But where the true friendships and the fellowship is created is through shaking hands, hugging, rubbing shoulders, attending meetings together. And that is what happens at regionals. First at potlucks, in your own neighborhoods, in your own communities, but then having multiple communities coming together at a regional corporate sponsored event is the fun times and the exciting times. And there's lots of reasons why that's important, not just about the friendship, but if you're thinking about seriously doing this as a business and building a business, motivation is key when you're an entrepreneur because we all know it. You get 20 or 30 no's for every one yes. And those no's, even though you can compartmentalize them and you can say that, you know, well, it just wasn't the right time and we make up all these things to tell each other, they bear a cost and a burden on your heart and in your mind, especially if you want to help people and you know what you've got is special and amazing. Hearing that no, it's disappointing. It hurts. And lots of little hurts build up. And the place where you can alleviate and heal all of those hurts and all that pain from all the no's is at a regional when you see 100 or more other people gathered in a room, everybody loving what you've already got, seeing the change that's happened in people's lives and just experiencing that emotion and that energy that takes place at regionals and the special training that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's crucial for building your business. So if it's on your mind at all, maybe I should get to a regional. Take out that word maybe and get there. Yeah, it might be expensive to travel. Few $100 if it's a road trip. Several $100s if it's a flight. But we have made the cost of attending the regional super cheap as far as your ticket. okay? And by the way, guests are free. Anybody you bring with you who's not already a partner is free. Because again, this is going to be an amazing motivational meeting, and we want you to bring your guests so that they can feel everything that you're feeling and be validated and experience the amazing thing that is LifeWise, all right? But when you look at the financial investment into your business, if you were running a traditional brick and mortar business, it's minuscule. Just the other day, my lab milligram scale isn't calibrating right. It's not great. I need to buy a new one. Guys, just for these kind of high-tech little scales that help me measure milligram amounts, it's $4,000. That's something I have to invest in my little brick and mortar business in order to be a formulator. It's nowhere near the cost of a regional event for a few $100, okay? So, you know, get to these regionals. Here's where they're at. We've spread them across the country so you can get to them. Yeah, it might be a 1-hour flight or a 5-hour drive, but they're within a 1-hour flight and 5-hour drive of anybody in the country, all right? April 20th, Salt Lake City. Again, if you're coming from LA, it's an 1 hour and 20-minute flight. Or if you're coming from Seattle, it's an 1 hour and 20-minute flight. If you're in Idaho to Las Vegas region, it could be 3 to 5 hours drive, but get there. Okay, Salt Lake City area, April 20th. Kansas City, Missouri, right in the smack dab middle of the country, May 18th. All right. Concord, North Carolina on the East Coast, again, hour flight from anywhere on the East Coast, few hour drive for those of you in the central East Coast, all right? Concord, North Carolina, June 8th. So April, May, and June, back-to-back regionals in different areas. Please get there, all right? Enough said. That's the announcements I've got tonight. Tonight, we're going to be covering this section right here of the one. I've talked so much about this product, and I promised you guys that I would go into more details on the ingredients of this amazing product because I've actually heard this. It breaks my heart, but I've actually heard this. I've had people say, holy cow, $99 for a multivitamin. I don't want to pay that. Maybe you've all heard it too. I'm going to break down each and every ingredient, and it's going to take me multiple trainings, multiple in the lab nights to do this. We covered the whole food section a couple weeks ago. I've talked specifically about the super fruit and super vegetable blend that's in it last week. This week, we're going to cover just this one section here, the pre and probiotic section. It's not a large section, but in that 200 milligram section of this product is a powerful 9-strain, 1 billion CFU probiotic blend. 1 billion CFUs is typically a little higher than I like to give people on a daily basis, but I wanted to make the one powerful. And there are some people that could use 1 billion probiotics every day. Your body naturally sloughs off between 400 million and 600 million CFUs, colony-forming units, of beneficial bacteria every single day. Now, that's a normal, healthy human being. If you are a soda pop user, you probably slough off a little bit more, about 20% more, so in the 600 to 800 million range. But if you're on an antibiotic, your bacteria is wiped out. It's gone. Okay, you've got to supplement with the probiotic like what's found in the one, all right? Now, 1 strain, 2 strain versions that you're going to get at your drugstore are not going to do it. They're not going to cut it for you. There are 12 active strains, well, at least 12. We're still discovering more about the microbiome, but at least 12 specific strains that have specific functions that live in your gut that form what we call the microbiome. But 3 or 4 of those strains are not essential or necessary for life, at least not that we know of right now. Who knows what science will find in the future regarding them. But we know that there are 9 essential crucial strains, and we have all 9 of those in the one. And we've got them at a decent supply, 1 billion CFUs, to where even if you've been on antibiotics, that's enough for you to start replacing your gut microbiome. And over time, like a week or so, you're going to be back to a healthy gut microbiome, even after a round of antibiotics. Now, it used to be to where doctors who prescribed antibiotics thought that probiotics were just hokey. You know, they classified it under the pseudoscience. But now every single pharmacist out there across the country, when you go fill your antibiotic prescription, every pharmacist out there is going to recommend probiotics, because that's how many studies are out there on them for beneficial health. It used to be that we only believed that they were crucial for gut health, but I'm going to show you some science today that's just going to blow your socks off. We know that there is a gut-brain connection now, but that's been proven now through many, many clinical studies. So gut health is not just gut health anymore. It's total body health. So let's get into this. Let's go over each one of these strains. I'm going to start with the most common, and I'm going to start with the lactobacillus strains. We have lactobacillus strains and we have bifida strains, and I'm going to put those into the two categories. The first lactobacillus strain that we have is known as acidophilus. That's the most common. All of you have heard of it. You've seen it on your yogurts, and man, you see it all over the grocery store. You see it on your dietary supplements. It's out there. But a lot of people don't realize just how important this strain is. I'm just going to read down. These are clinically proven, gold standard clinical studies, proven benefits of the acidophilus strain, the Lactobacillus acidophilus. It provides immune support against infections. It reduces the occurrence of diarrhea in humans. How nice is that? It helps to lower cholesterol. It improves lactose intolerances. It's used as a treatment for IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease. So almost all diseases of inflammation in the bowel, like celiac, IBS, Crohn's, things like that, Lactobacillus acidophilus can help with. Now, according to Healthline, and a lot of these studies, if you go to like healthline.com, they have a whole series of studies posted on the various strains of probiotics out there. So according to that website, I'm going to share with you some additional benefits of the next probiotic that I want to talk about. This is another strain of lactobacillus. It's known as Lactobacillus casei. So casei, or L-casei, it's written right on your label here if you want to follow along, has been shown to be useful for acne. Gut health equals brain health. Gut health equals skin health. I see it time and time again. You know, back when I was doing private consultations, this was between 1998 and 2004. I was really busy, literally seeing 10 to 12 people a day. They'd bring in their blood work. We'd talk about it. I'd build nutritional programs for them. If they had any type of psoriasis, if they had any problem with acne, if they had any skin disorder whatsoever, the very first thing I'd do is I'd put them on a bowel cleanse. And I learned some of those bowel techniques and bowel cleanses from one of my mentors. He's famous for iridology, Dr. Bernard Jensen. I got to train with and under Dr. Bernard Jensen early on in my career in the mid-1990s. And he had some of the best bowel cleansing programs out there. And we always saw improvement in the skin when you had proper bowel health. Well, now they've got studies that prove that this Lactobacillus casei helps improve acne. If you've got hives, they use L-casei to treat hives and fever blisters, allergies, eczema, dermatitis. The common cold and flu and respiratory infections can all be improved by supplementing with L-casei. They've used it to treat ear infections. Now, that's not putting the L-casei in your ear. That's just simply using it how it's meant to be used, by sticking it in your gut and allowing your gut to be healthy so that the rest of the body can become healthy. It's also used for oral health problems, plaque, gingivitis, canker sores, Lyme disease, rheumatoid arthritis, urinary tract, and vaginal infections. Again, it's just crazy how many benefits this one small little tiny bacteria that lives in your gut can do for you. So let's talk about, here's a great one. The next one on this list, Lactobacillus plantarum. Many of you maybe have never heard of this one. This is one of the more rare strains of probiotics in our small and large intestine, but it's super important. Lactobacillus plantarum helps break down food. I think all of us know that that's one of the main functions of bacteria. Helps us absorb our nutrients better, but it actually builds your immune system in the way of boosting NK cell activity, which helps our body fight off infections, fight bacteria and viruses, all right? Now, the clinical studies on this ingredient are also pretty amazing. L. plantarum, when regularly supplemented with, has been shown to moderate and provide benefits for anxiety. I mentioned already that gut health equals brain health. It's amazing what healthy gut can do for the various hormones that are needed for proper brain function in regards to serotonin levels, oxytocin levels, dopamine levels, and reducing the bad hormones. For example, when you have fear, when you have anxiety, you have a hyperactive amygdala, that's little front portion here of your brain, and it produces the fight or flight hormone that literally puts your body in this fear, this frozen, full of fear mode. And they've shown that the Lactobacillus plantarum, when it's abundant in your body, you're able to turn off that fear. If you talk to anyone with anxiety, that's kind of the first thing they tell you, is that they get into that anxiety mode and then they can't come down off of it for several hours. Well, when you've got proper gut health, it makes the anxiety, I guess, easier to manage, according to this study. And this, by the way, was like a 12-week study on daily supplementation for L. plantarum, Lactobacillus plantarum. There was another study that showed that L. plantarum helps control blood sugar levels. I could cite all these studies for you. I mean, this was a 12-month study. Over 20,000 children participated in the blood sugar. It wasn't children. I skipped a line there. They were taking just, again, 1 billion CFUs, what we've got of L. plantarum, for 8 weeks in senior citizens, people over age 65. And it lowered their blood sugar levels on average, HbA1c levels, by on average 8 to 12%. Now, you may think that that's not a huge drop, but when you're looking at an HbA1c level of like 6.1 to 6.5, which is, it's diabetes, but it's not like real severe diabetes. It's what they call that borderline, that adult type 2 onset diabetes. Dropping that by even just from like a 6.5 to a 5.9 puts them at that, good kind of 5.7, 5.9 is where most senior citizens should be at, that, kind of healthy blood sugar level. So it's actually super important. Now, there was another study in children, a 12-month study from ages birth to 13 years of age. Again, at 1 billion CFUs for atopic dermatitis. So going back to skin health again. This also showed that plantarum is good for skin conditions as well. Other studies, I'm running out of time, but other studies included high blood pressure, hypertension, again, inflammatory bowel disease, including Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, IBS, which we already talked about. So all of these, I've got lots of papers here. All of these strains of bacteria are so beneficial for us. All right. Here's one of the rare ones that you may not have heard of as well. I know L. plantarum is rare, but what's even more rare than that is Lactobacillus rhamnosus. Anybody heard of that one? Give me a thumbs up if you have. Stay quiet if you haven't. Yeah, lots of quiet there. Rhamnosus is crazy beneficial against preventing cavities. Again, your GI tract, many of you may not know this. This is an interesting fact. Your GI tract is technically not a part of your body. It's more like your skin. It's like the outside of your body because it is a constant, complete, enclosed tube from your mouth to your anus. It is not connected like to the innards of your body, even though we think of it all the time as being inside our body. Well, it is inside our body, but it's just a big long tube all wrapped up. So your gut health, when I say gut health or GI tract, I'm talking from your mouth to your anus. So when you look at probiotics, and I'll talk about another one that specifically lives inside your mouth that we have in this product as well, in the one as well. But rhamnosus has been shown to protect against cavities. It helps prevent UTIs and it helps promote healthy weight loss. There's also been studies for insulin sensitivity, cholesterol reduction, and allergy protection. Are you guys kind of seeing a common pattern here? Inflammation, allergies, skin health, brain health, all of these beneficial probiotics can, again, just make you feel wonderful. Last study on rhamnosus is another acne study. I've got so many notes here, I might have to have James figure out a way to put these in PDFs and post them later so you guys can actually read the studies that I'm quoting here. Okay, we've talked about the acidophilus strains that I have in the one. Let's go over the bifidus strains for a little bit. We've got 3 different bifidus strains in there. Now, bifidobacterium is actually the very first probiotic that's formed in an infant's gut, mainly from breast milk. So if you are a breastfed baby, congratulations, you're privileged when it comes to healthy immune function and healthy gut function and whatnot. If you were one of those formula-fed babies, then you were underprivileged. What comes to mind, I don't know if you guys have seen that, where all these high school kids line up and their teachers trying to teach them about privilege, which, you know, I don't know if I really agree with a lot of that, but aside from the politics of that, they have these kids who say, hey, if you were raised in a 2-parent family home, which I know makes a huge difference in life, take a step forward. If you were raised, going to church regularly, take another step forward and things like that, right? If you never did drugs, take another step forward. And you see all these privileged kids. And the interesting thing about all those studies, well, I guess we won't get into that, but if you were breastfed, you get to take a step forward too, because there are specific types of bacteria and sugars in breast milk that help form healthy gut bacteria. So mothers, please, please, please try to breastfeed your babies. And if you can't, didn't have them when I was around, when I was a child, but breast banks are everywhere now, breast milk banks. There are women who overlactate, who donate their breast milk to these banks, and you need it. Your infants need the colostrum, you need all the fats, you need the healthy proteins, you need the healthy bacteria that's in that breast milk. Because what that does is it implants in the infant's gut and begins to grow these strains of bifidus and then eventually acidophilus bacteria. Now, the first bifidus strain that I want to talk about, this is called Bifidobacterium bifidum. That's a tongue twister. Try saying that 3 times. You'll end up just going blah, 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 blah. Bifidobacterium bifidum, all right? There are studies on this particular strain that focus specifically on celiac. And it's so crucial to get this bacteria in your infants because they are more than 70% less likely to develop gluten intolerances if they were breastfed. So important. I'm going to read a portion of this study. When patients have been inoculated with bifidum, these are celiac patients, by the way, have been inoculated with Bifidobacterium bifidum, the number of goblet cells in their small intestine increased. Goblet cells are these healthy immune function producing cells. In their small intestines increased dramatically, and the production of metalloproteinases, proteases are the protein digestive enzymes. Gluten, by the way, is a protein, and your body typically is supposed to produce enzymes to break down that harmful gluten. But because of the genetic modification of our grains nowadays, the gluten content is so high that if you don't have healthy bifidum levels, you develop this gluten intolerance. Anyway, back to this study. These metalloproteinases increased and the chemokine inhibitors increased. Both of these protect the intestinal barrier against harmful amounts of gluten, and which in turn successfully break down built up gluten in the small intestine. So if you were not privileged to have been born as a breastfeeding infant, supplementation, which is exactly what this study said, supplementation even later on in life helps increase these goblet cells, helps increase the proteases, the protein digestive enzymes, and the chemokine inhibitors help to reduce inflammation markers and things like that in the small intestine. So it alleviates the symptoms and breaks down the cause of celiac disease. So let's move on to another strain. When you hear this, don't freak out, but it's written right on our label. And I've actually had people ask me, oh my gosh, you have streptococcus bacteria in your product. There are healthy forms of streptococcus that live in our bodies, in our gut particularly, and there are bad forms of streptococcus. One of them I'm worried about my mother getting, but as long as she follows the program that I've been giving her for the last couple of days, hopefully her cold won't develop into pneumonia. But Streptococcus pneumonia is that bad bacteria that can lead to pneumonia. Streptococcus thermophilus, on the other hand, is a very beneficial bacteria. Again, it's lesser known, one of the lesser known probiotics, but its health benefits are so worth talking about. In fact, I'm going to just flood over information on Streptococcus thermophilus. Supports healthy digestion, supports healthy immune function. In one study, patients who used Streptococcus thermophilus regularly had fewer occurrences of rotavirus causing diarrhea. Okay? Take that one to heart. Great ingredient. All right, I've got two more that I've got to talk about here, and I'm running out of time. Let's skip right down to bifidolongum. Now, longum is more commonly known. In fact, if you go to your pharmacist, like if you go fill an antibiotic prescription, they'll probably give you a probiotic that contains acidophilus, bifidum, and longum. Usually a 3-strain probiotic is what you get from most pharmacists. It is it's a gram-positive, rod-shaped species of bacteria. It's very beneficial in the human GI tract. Let's just jump into the benefits of this. This particular ingredient, there's too many. I've got 2 pages here of clinical studies that I need to cite, but I don't have time for. I'm down to just a couple minutes. But it has been shown to be beneficial for inflammation, allergies, gut health, cholesterol health, liver health, cognitive function. So there's that gut-brain correlation again. Anxiety, depression, lung health, and bone density. Now, a lot of people say, well, how can like a bacterial strain in my gut help with bone density? We talked about nutrient absorption. So, of course, the absorption of calcium and magnesium and boron, it's necessary to have a healthy gut in order to do that. But more importantly, this particular strain, Bifidobacterium longum, has been shown that in postmenopausal women who naturally tend to get lower estrogen levels, it has helped them maintain healthy estrogen levels. Now, they're still trying to figure out the causation. As I was reading this study, they said they haven't quite figured out the mechanism of action. But after their control group of women versus their treatment group of women who were taking 1 billion CFUs of longum regularly for 3 months in a row, estrogen levels tend to slightly rise over the control group, which is crazy because postmenopausal women are supposed to be, dropping in estrogen, not increasing in estrogen levels. So estrogen, as you know, is a super important hormone that helps maintain healthy bone mass among postmenopausal women. All right, last ingredient, because I'm running out of time, we're going to talk a little bit about prebiotics. Now, I have several prebiotics scattered throughout this ingredient list. We talked about some of the prebiotic healthy sugars found in the fruit blend that I've got here. The actual green chlorophyll. Chlorophyll makes a wonderful prebiotic, and I've got this in the capsules. But in the little probiotic section, I have written right down here at the bottom, FOS, fructooligosaccharides. These are short chain sugars or polysaccharides. Fructose, it's a healthy fructose, all right? I know fructooligosaccharide is a really long word to say, so we just say FOS in the industry. But it's a simple kind of carbohydrate that is found in some fruits and roots and vegetables. Mostly we get it out of the agave plant, which is, you know, it's a high sugar content, which is why they can turn it into alcohol and things. Yacon root, one of the major benefits of yacon root is the fiber and the FOS that's in there, which is also a form of fiber. Chicory root is high. Jerusalem artichokes are high. And I bet you guys don't eat these on a regular basis, right? Does everyone go out and make a chicory soup stew or eat Jerusalem artichokes every day? Or do you do blue agave not in the form of tequila, okay? Or yacon root? No, you don't very much, which is why I put it in the one, because we need these healthy sugars to feed our gut bacteria. Think of the bacteria as just that you're taking every day in the form of the one as just little seeds. They're actually calculated, you guys, if you don't understand this, it's calculated by 9 strains of 1 billion CFUs. A lot of people ask me, what are these CFUs? CFU, I know it sounds alien, but it's colony forming unit, all right? So these bacteria are measured in how they colonize their environment, how many active little colonizers are in there. Now, in order to grow a colony, you need food and resources, right? The FOS is the food, and the chlorophyll is the food, and the fruits and veggies in here are the food for these colonies to form. So maintaining healthy gut flora is not just about supplementing with probiotic, but it's also about feeding your body the right food to maintain a healthy gut. Now, there are things that you can do to destroy your colonies as well. Like if you want to, you know, if the aliens wanted to nuke us, if we're colonizers of planet Earth, they could probably figure out a way to do that. We have figured out a way to do that through junk food. Soda pop destroys your GI tract health, okay? Alcohol destroys your GI tract health. It's so simple, you guys. Think about this, okay? What do you use to disinfect your countertops? Like chlorine, bleach. Some people use alcohol. If you're in a nursing home or if you're in a hospital, you've worked as a nurse before, you know that you take water and you put about 1/3 alcohol, a little bit of Clorox bleach in there, and you have a great disinfectant. Alcohol kills bacteria, all types of bacteria, okay? So when you chug alcohol, you're killing your friendly bacteria too that's in your gut. There's other things that kill bacteria, you know, again, just junk food in general. Now, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, look, sugar doesn't kill bacteria. Sugar actually feeds bacteria, but too much sugar is not a good thing, all right? So just be cautious about what you put in your body on a regular basis. I've said this time and time again, good health is what you do most of the time, not some of the time, okay? Again, if you want to have a social drink once a week, that's fine, because every day you're feeding your colonies, and if once in a week you want to kill a colony, okay, once a week, I'll let it slide. I won't rag on you for that, but not every day, all right? Every day, do little good things to feed your colonies, do little good things to feed your body, and then if you want to, you know, let go once a week or so, that's just fine. Because good health is what you do most of the time, not some of the time. All right. I'll end it with that tonight. Thank you guys for participating and joining me tonight. I'll see you next week, Tuesday, in the lab with Tracy Gibbs. Thanks and have a nice evening.